Hi, I'm Peter Tyler. I was the model unit director of photography on a lot of Red Dwarf. This is some Super 8 that I shot, or various people shot in fact, on my camera way back in 1990 at the Pinewood water tank. This was shot for Series 4, of Starbug crashing into the sea and hitting a rock. This is us in the tank. It was middle of November, freezing cold. We got dry suits on there to try and keep out the cold a little bit. We basically just had the one day on the water tank. The tank was already filled for another production, and there was a day where we could use it. Again, as in with these tight TV budgets, this is what we had to do. Didn't matter that it was the middle of November and the light would go at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So it was a right panic, terrible rush. There's the guys making waves, the cheap way, with empty oil drums. Alan Marshall in the water there with the clapperboard. And I think that's Dave Viles walking behind me with the camera battery. And Peter Ragg there in a flat cap on the right, helping to move the barrel up and down. The wind machines also help to break the water up to try and make it look more like real waves. And the smoke is to make the background look a little bit more stormy. There's another big wind machine. That's Alan Marshall and Dave Viles. Dave's in the red. He's a bit of an actor there, he's Alan Marshall. And the polystyrene rock, which wouldn't sink. The trouble with polystyrene is it's very buoyant. And to anchor it down and stop it wobbling about, they had to use about 100 stage weights. And Nick Cool in the foreground. Every time you get a camera out, he's there. So they're basically positioning the rock now so that Starbug can fly down a wire. Here held by Dave Viles. He's just getting to grips with where the wire's going to take it into the rock. I think that's the main cable there you could just see. That's setting up the camera. Back in those days, when we had a little bit more money, we shot on 35mm. This is back at Visual Effects. This is for Series 5 in the old Visual Effects model stage, which sadly is no longer with us. Nick Cool again, and James Davis wiring up the second Red Dwarf model, ready to be blown up. Again, with this, we had there was only one day that we could get hold of the special Photosonics high-speed camera to film the explosion, so we had to shoot this on a Saturday, and we had one go at it. If it didn't work, then we were stuffed. Peter Ragg there on the right, supervising. They've filled the smaller model with all sorts of explosives. There it goes. Now this is the Starbug taking off as Dwarf starts to blow up. Nick Cool's in the foreground on the left there, holding a big piece of girder, which he then drops into shot. Crash. And the camera can be seen bottom right. The girder actually hitting the landing pad wasn't used in the original show because they made the shot too lengthy, but I think it appears in the extras. There's Nick Cool again. This is the upended set. The camera will be looking straight up at this, and Starbug will come crashing through the doors. Quite a big set, this. It used to take the best part of a day to actually build it and get it up on the scaffolding. There's a lovely close-up of Nick Cool, for all the Nick Cool fans out there. Nick has some kind of pact going on because he doesn't age. I think that's Alan Marshall hanging the small Starbug model. And that little tube is a flame projector, which will fire a sheet of flame downwards towards camera behind Starbug as it comes crashing out through the doors. That's Peter Ragg. He'll be probably wiring up the pyrotechnics at this point. And the ubiquitous Nick Cool.